do live, see if anybody would show up out here on the balcony of the rented condo in Jomtien Beach. There's a lot of noise. I'll probably have to delete the live stream anyway, because there's going to be probably too much copyright music, because the bars are right down here beneath me. So you never know. You never know what it may pick up. Megan Gomez is here. Anna G's in the house. How are you too? Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I just decided to do a little impromptu live stream to see how it would go. See if anybody would be watching. I brought along my favorite libation. Hey now, San Miguel Light. Robert Tagra's in the house. Hi. There you go. I'm going to crack that open. Jack's Vibes is here. Hi, Jack. The incomparable Jack's Vibes. Yeah, I don't know how much of the music in the background it's going to pick up, because we do have a few clubs right down beneath us, even though we're on the 8th floor. We're on the 8th floor, but it may not be high enough. It's not high enough for me. I know it's dark. You can't see much out there, right? Let me pour a little bit of libation there in the... Yeah, I don't mean to be rude, but it is San Miguel Light. 100 calories per can. Tim Deziak is here. Hi, Tim. How's it going? Good evening. I just thought I'd do a little experiment to see if anybody'd show up. Are we horizontal or are we vertical today? It looks like we're horizontal. We're streaming live from YouTube. YouTube, I understand, takes up a lot less data. Cheers, everyone. If you've got your libation in front of you, I've got mine right here. I is here. I is in the house. I don't know if you could see it. I think I could see it. The eye's still red from the infection. It's going away, though. You should have seen it. This eye was really messed up. But now it's looking like it's clearing up. So that's why I'm kind of messing with you. I'm kind of going like this. Like that. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oh, I think I need to turn down the volume on one of my phones. What is your pulutan, Sir Dan? Man, Minnie, what is my pulutan?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're just eating.
Yeah, we just ate. We just ate a hamburger at the Jomtien night market. Oh, that's really what I wanted to talk about. Yanireen is here. I want to talk a little bit about, this is actually a vacation. So a lot of you know that Minnie and I, when we left Bye Bye City, we went to Cebu and we stayed a month there. Now, you think we would have gone back to Bye Bye City, right? Instead of moving north, but we didn't. We didn't, and I'm becoming a little bit homesick, quite frankly. I didn't expect this to happen. Maybe we're on too long a vacation. Because, yeah, we're still in Pattaya. We're in Jomtien Beach, Pattaya. Because we've been away from home for like 2.5 or 3 months. Oh, you thought it was from the beer. No, this is actually my first one. And there's a little store around the corner that just happens to stock San Miguel Light. I know it's spelled backwards, right, in the camera. Yeah, I should have flipped the camera around. Rookie error, rookie mistake. Who's going there? Are you, Megan, are you coming here? Oh, Abby G was talking about that, right? That you're coming here. So let's see. Oh yeah, when you get to the airport. I don't know if you're going directly to the hotel from the airport when you land, but if you're coming direct to Pattaya, Megan, then you want to take the bus, but you can't the last one leaves at 10 p.m. So if you're taking the red eye, like most of us do, you get there after the last bus has already left from the airport to Pattaya. But that actually is the best way to do it. If you want to avoid Bangkok and the expensive hotels, yeah, the last trip out on the bus is 10 p.m. So if you're coming in on the late plane, you know, you're going to miss it. You're going to be sleeping in the airport. But here's the good thing, all right? We were going to try it, but we didn't have to because we were able to find a hotel near the airport that was reasonably priced. It was so reasonably priced, I got it for free. That's because I used Booking.com and I had points available. So that was only 1.5 kilometers from the airport. The taxi guy thought he was taking us into town, but no, he ended up taking us 1.5 kilometers to the hotel, which was decent, but it was also free. But here's what happens. There is also in the basement where you catch the train. By the way, the trains won't be running either at after 10 p.m. So you might get stuck taking a 500 baht taxi. It's very expensive. I don't recommend it. So you will have to wait till the next morning, early in the morning, like 5 a.m. when the trains start running again. So the way you can get into Bangkok, you could take Bolt, not Grab. There, the cheapest way to get from the airport, if you're going to hire a car, is not the airport taxi. It's not Grab. It is Bolt, B-O-L-T. So make sure you download that app and set that up if you plan on using Bolt. And then there's the bus. And then there's the train. The train is great. Minnie and I have taken the train quite a few times from the airport to downtown Bangkok. But not in the middle of the night because the train doesn't run in the middle of the night downtown. But here's what I was going to say. Just so you know, Megan. The train is cheap. And Billy's here. Brother from a different mother is in the house. Hey, Megan, here's the thing. They also have sleeping pods right there where the train is down in the basement. So if you have to stay in the airport and you want a sleeping pod, you can book that in advance also, and you could go down. Yes, here in Thailand, Bolt is cheaper than Grab, like by 2/3 cheaper. And I just learned that. I learned that recently, and then of course here they have a thing called a bot bus. But out of the airport, you know, they want you to spend money. So they want you to take a Bolt, a Grab, or they want you to take a airport taxi, or you know, if you're gonna stay there in the airport until morning and sleep there, you know, it goes by fast. I think the trains start running at 5 a.m. You go downstairs and then you grab the train. Oh, you're gonna be there on November 2nd. Oh, that's nice. We're gonna be out of here by then. We're gonna be leaving, I think, October 2nd. So a whole month ahead of you. And then we'll be going back to Clark. Larry Lee, how you be? Oh, it's an evening flight. Yeah, you're kind of screwed, Megan. You're kind of screwed, you know. If you book a hotel, I would book it near the airport. They have a whole bunch of economy hotels, and then the next day you can figure out, you know, how you're going to get to Bangkok or Pattaya. The way to do it is, though, if you're only 1.5 kilometers from the airport, what you do is you go to the nearest hotel that you can afford, sleep there, and the next morning take a Grab, or maybe they might even have a shuttle bus back to the airport, and then grab the bus that comes straight to Pattaya. And that bus is going to run you, hun, how much does a bus from the airport to Pattaya run? I think it's $10 American money.
Yes.
I think it's 500 peso, 500 Philippine peso. That's relatively inexpensive for going 3 hours from the airport to Pattaya, right? So there's a site. If you Google it, Megan, there's a site you can go to that'll give you 4, 5, or 6 different ways to go. It'll lay the whole thing out for you. So what else I want to say? Okay, so I was talking about being homesick. So we still have another month and 10 days or so that we've committed to for this apartment. And so I wanted to be fair and talk about what is the cost of travel. So it's much cheaper. Oh, you're welcome, Megan. Wish you well. Wish our paths were crossing. I know they will someday. I know Abby G and ours is going to cross. when we head back the other way, returning home, we're going to go through, we most likely will go through Quezon City, and we'll have a chance to meet up with Abby G. Probably at SM, probably there where the passport office is. Now that would be a good place to meet up, right? Somewhere in that mall. Yeah. So it's exciting. Yeah, so we made a commitment. So we're here for another month and 10 days. But I got to tell you, you know, I got to be honest. This is a place, Thailand is a place where I would never live, but I would definitely go on vacations, right? I know a lot of people live here. A lot of expats live here in Jomtien Beach and Pattaya. And I mean, you have all kind of people all over the place, from all over the world that come here and they rent apartments. Kumusta? Viking, gaming, how are you? Vikings in the house. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so we have all kinds of people from all over the world that live here. And they love it because you get the beach views and all this other stuff. And I'm not that, you know, it's always going to be a vacation spot for me, but it's never going to be home for a variety of reasons, you know. None of which are Thailand's fault. None of which are anybody's fault. It just seems like a vacation to me when I come here. And so in my head, it's always going to be a vacation. It's kind of like going to Hawaii for a couple of days, you know, seeing the crystal blue water, or going to Boracay would be a better example for the Philippines. And then after a while, you know, you can take 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 days there maybe, and then all of a sudden you say, man, all this ocean and seeing the beautiful people and the white sandy beaches and the sunsets, all that has been great, right? But now it's time to go home, and that's how I feel about Thailand. And then also the laws are constantly changing here. You can't stop progress. They're going the right direction, I believe, with visas and things like that. But as most of you know, I'm not married to a Thai woman, I'm married to a Filipina. And if you're married to a Filipina, you want to be where she is the most comfortable. I could fit in, yeah, Waikiki is awesome. Waikiki is awesome, I've been there a few times, but there's nothing like coming here. I'm telling you. And there's nothing cheaper than coming here. That's the other thing. It's a very affordable place to hang out. And I was going to go over those numbers, Viking, so thank you for giving me that segue. For example, right, tax license instructions for 1 month stay here in this apartment, it's running a little less than $500 American. That's 25,000 pesos, Philippines money, right? You could even get 2 nights in a hotel on Waikiki Beach for that. And we're staying here for a whole month, 2 months to be exact, for $500 per month. Hawaii is just plain very, very expensive. It's crazy expensive. It was even expensive the last time I went there, which was a long time ago, and I vowed never to go back. So this is like the poor man's Waikiki Beach, if you will, Pattaya. But I don't mean that in a derogatory way, right? Because you're getting all the bells and whistles for way, way cheaper. But here's what's to keep in mind, Megan. We're in low season. Oh yeah, see that? Oh, Megan, I gotta warn you about something, right? If you try and trade Philippine pesos for baht, you're gonna get screwed on exchange rate. This is really, really important. You first have to exchange at your bank Philippine pesos to dollars. And then you come over here and then you take those dollars and exchange them for baht, for Thai baht. But don't do it at the airport. But if you do have to do it at the airport, do not stop at that exchange booth that is planted right there as you come through customs, because they have the lousiest rate. Do not stop there. You go down to the basement where those sleeping pods are and where the train is, and you change your money there. So follow Dan's example, follow his advice. Change pesos to American money, and then when you get here, American money to baht. Now here's something you may need to do though. you may need to find somebody who has baht to sell before you come over, because you may end up getting that's right, it's only at 56, but it's still way better than only getting half of the value of the peso in baht. That's what they're giving. So if you're going to exchange it here, if you're going to go directly by going to one of the exchanges and exchanging Philippine peso to baht, they're only going to give you 50% of the value. So every 1,000 pesos is only going to be equivalent to 500 baht. Every 1,000 pesos in Philippine money, they'll only give you at the exchange 500 baht. So you're going to lose your shirt. You're going to lose half the value of your money. Trust me, Dan knows. How does he know? Because he tried it. He tried it. So you don't want to do it that way. You want to go to the bank and change your Philippine pesos into dollars first. Get the 56 to 1. Then you come over here, take those dollars and trade them for baht. And the exchange rate is 34.10. It might be a little bit more. It might be higher than that. It fluctuates so much more than the Philippine peso does. It's kind of crazy, you know. It changes so fast on a daily basis. Yeah. Megan, are you writing all this stuff down? Yeah. There's going to be a test on it later. All right, so now, if you're going to use the ATM machine like BPI or something like that, a BPI card, or I use my ATM from Fidelity because there are no service charges, and you have to find the right bank that will give you the highest exchange rate. So if you're going to use your BPI debit card, or you're going to use any debit card that's on the MasterCard system or the Visa system, then you use Bangkok Bank. Bangkok Bank to exchange your money, but not at the airport ATM. You wait until you get into town or get to where you're going, like Pattaya, and go hit the ATM, and there are going to be service charges. But Bangkok Bank will give you as close to the Forex rate that you're getting as you possibly can get. That is worth money, what I just shared with you. That's worth money. The best way to do this whole thing is travel with American cash. Take it to the exchange and exchange it for what the current rate is, and you're good to go. And so I found this out because I got taken. So because the ATMs were in a different language, I thought I was canceling the transaction. Instead, I was telling it to move forward, and I ended up losing something like $15 or $16 using that ATM machine. This is how I discovered that Bangkok Bank is the best one to use, the best ATM. Or if you're nervous and they're open, go inside. Don't use an ATM on the street. Use one that's attached to a bank. All right, back to expenses. This is low season. That's everything to keep in mind. So that is probably why we got this room on the cheap, because November is when high season starts. That's when room rates start to go up and apartments start to go up in price. Sorry about that, Megan. I don't know if you already booked a room or not. But you have a lot of options, you know. You can stay in youth hostels and different things like that. But so this apartment, I would imagine, we have not, let's see, we signed this lease where the rent is due something like the 5th of the month, because we flew in on the 5th or the 6th. So that's when the lease started. And so it's not due for another, 10 or 12 days or so. But we'll let you know, because they're going to collect up the electricity, the water, and they may even ask for the internet expenses. And I'll let you know how much those are. But we haven't been using the air conditioning. The only time we've been using AC is when I've been doing my live streams on Friday evenings, Philippine date and time. Then I've had to lock everything up to make sure we're blocking out all the sound, so I wouldn't get any copyright strikes from the music. There's a lot of action going on downstairs. And you have to guarantee that you're not going to get a copyright strike. The only way you can do that is to shut everything out, turn everything off, turn the AC on. So I've only used a couple of hours. Since we've been here so far this month, only 2 times for 2 live streams. Yeah, I hope that we don't get killed on the electric bill. Our friend Dave, who lives a few floors up, tells me there's utility payments, and he runs the electricity full blast day and night. He says he hasn't been paying any more than $175 per month for all 3 of those things combined. $175 is fairly reasonable. So it's expensive to travel, and it's expensive. I mean, put it in perspective. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that traveling is cheap. When you get on a plane, you start going places. You know, because you're staying in hotels, and hotels command a premium price. Even though we got this one on the cheap, it's not cheap to a lot of people. It's not cheap to a lot of people. It just happens to be cheap for people that are in the West. You know, Europeans and Australians and people from Ireland and Scotland, the United States and Canada might think that staying a month in these luxurious digs for, you know, less than $650 is cheap. And it is, because, like I said, there are hotels close by across the street and down the walkway there, down the sidewalk. They're going to run you $100 a night. So you're not getting a month. You're not getting a month worth of hotel for $650 any kind of way. Okay, and we have another month to go, and that's what I was going to talk about. Another month to go, but I'm already feeling like I want to go home. But I'm already committed. I signed a lease. I live up to my commitments, and so we're going to live up to the commitment. 1 more month and 12 days or whatever it is. We're out here on October 2nd. And the plan for that is most likely we will leave 2 days earlier before the lease expires so we can reconcile everything, and then we'll head to Bangkok, and then we'll get a hotel there, enjoy, you know, some of the sites there before we fly out on October 2nd. So we most likely will be vacating this place quite a few days early, and they'll be happy because they're going to get their full month's rent and all the expenses, and they'll be able to get in here and get it all cleaned up and ready to go for high season. Yes, I said that. High season, and marijuana is legal here in Thailand. And how do I know that? It's because I have to smell that stink of it, just like I had to in Sacramento, California. But not in the Philippines, thank God, not in the Philippines. That's something to celebrate. So, the expenses. All right, so let's go over it a little bit. So, Ma'am and I, by the way, a big majority of our travel money is actually coming out of the household budget because we're not at home. You know, and so that means we could use some of the household budget. I think it would be better than 60% to travel on, but that still means we have to come up with some money that we didn't allocate to that household budget. So some of you know, because I've talked about it before in past videos, that we're running something like $1,300 per month as a household budget. And I would say 60% of that we took with us this time. We left a couple of months worth of budget that we thought they needed back at the house, so we wouldn't have to worry about sending money home, Western Union, in case they needed it at the house. But we also set up a brother-in-law with PayPal, so now if I had to transfer money there, I don't have to worry about it. I just go grab it out of my bank account in the States and then transfer it to his PayPal, and then he'll transfer it over to his bank. He'll move it over. So that's how we've handled that situation. But let me go over the actual dollars. Okay, so I already told you that 60% of that $1,300 we are using of the household budget we're using for travel. 60%. So what is that? $600, $700, give or take a few dollars. That was our starting off money. So in order to get from Cebu to Clark or to Manila, we went Cebu, we flew to Manila, That was $50 on Cebu Pacific. So we went from Cebu, we flew to Manila. That was $50 each. $50 each is $100. That's 2,500 pesos each to get there. Then we stayed a week there we took a bus to Clark. Did we stay a night? Did we stay one night in Manila? I can't remember. Or did we go directly to Clark? I think we went straight to Clark. I think we caught a bus. I can't remember. And there's a bus there goes straight to Clark, the mall, something like that. I can't remember now. And we'd gotten a place that was not too far. It was within walking distance from the bus terminal in Angelo City near Clark. So I think that we didn't walk though. If you watch the video, we were so tired, from the flights and things and moving around so fast that we ended up getting a trike, and the trike took us over. Probably it was only 1 kilometer, 1.5 kilometers from Dau bus terminal over to where we were staying in these apartments. And I can't remember the name of them. They're soon forgotten because it was too tiny. They're like micro apartments. I had no idea what I was buying. No wonder they don't let you go up there and check out the rooms before you rent. Because I had asked, I said, no, you have to give the money first. So I was looking at it from the outside and I was like, this place it seems like okay. And then when we got up there, it was a little teeny tiny micro apartment, which served us just fine for the week or two that we were there. 2 weeks, I think we were there before taking the plane from Clark to Thailand. And you know that story, right? That story about the turbulence. I don't need to go over that again. That was pretty scary stuff. My stomach is still up there at 30,000 feet somewhere. No, it wouldn't have been that high because we were on final approach when we hit that, which is bad, because if you get a downdraft, if you get turbulence and you're coming in for a landing, you don't have so much space to be working. The ground is closer, than it is if you're up there at 30 or 35,000 feet, obviously. But anyway, such is life, right? Or death. Anyway, the cost of those, Cebu Pacific has no mercy. They're an economy airline, right? And so round trip with baggage and everything. We have 2 bags to check in plus our carry-on. Most of it's mini stuff. I don't carry with very much stuff. I carry with a couple pair of, quick dry underwear and quick dry shirts like the one I'm wearing now. Doesn't take up a whole bunch of space. But anyway, the women's need their clothes, right? I don't know why. And plus they keep buying clothes. She keeps buying clothes everywhere she stops. She has to take a look at the clothes. That's being a woman, I think. But I want to tell you how much the airline tickets were. And I'm sure you, Megan, if you're still hanging around, I'm sure you got a better deal than we did. Because this was all last minute, really. I didn't plan this far enough ahead. I never do. I don't know why I do things that way. But Clark is not a prime. Clark is like the luxury airport. You're going to get through there really fast. And very few people fly out of Clark, but that's why I like it. So the direct flight out of Clark, plus the baggage and all that, all included $250 round trip per person. So that was $500 right into Bangkok. And then we got the place to stay for free there. And it was $10 to take the bus. Or no, we took a cab. No, we took a Bolt. We took a Grab. That's right. That's how I figured out this whole thing about the Grab. Plus our friends clued us in on what was going on. The Grab was like $200 or $300 to Ikamai Station. We could have taken the train, but I didn't want to lug around the luggage. Is that what they call it? Luggage? Because you lug it around. Anyway, throw it in the trunk, get in the Grab. You're on your way to Ikamai bus station. And from there is where we grabbed the bus to Pattaya. But, so I was telling you, Megan, it might not have been the greatest strategy. The greatest strategy, and what could have saved me a few dollars, is by going back to the airport. That's why I'm sharing this experience with you. You go back to the airport and tell the Bolt driver, drop us where the buses are, that I need to get on to go to Pattaya, and then boom, you'll go there. It'll take you directly from the airport to Pattaya bus station. Whoo, and then you could walk or trike it or do whatever you want. Take a bus for 10 baht. It's easy to get anywhere that you need to go, almost anywhere, in Pattaya, in the tourist areas, if you do it that way, from the bus station in Pattaya. All right. So I guess, what am I saying? Yeah, it's not cheap to travel. That's what I'm saying. It isn't as expensive as people, inexpensive as people make it out to believe, right? Philippine, let's see, who says to, is it Amazing Philippines, or is it, I can't remember who, right, talks about this all the time. I apologize. It's not Rod that talks about this on his channel. It's somebody else, right? It's somebody else. Maybe it's Amazing Philippines, but he says, and of course I never take anybody's advice, and that's why it costs more money for me to travel. The best way to do it is you do it in a series of one-way tickets, and so you go exactly where you want to go in by purchasing a series of one-way tickets. So if you plan on going to Thailand, then after Thailand you want to go to Malaysia, don't do what I do, right? Don't buy the round-trip ticket that takes you back to Clark International Airport or Manila. You want to leap. You want to do froggy leap, like the game Frogger, to each direction. You want to plan it in advance. So if you're planning on going, let's say, to Cambodia or Da Nang, you plan all that stuff in advance. You buy the ticket from Clark to Da Nang, Da Nang to Siem Reap, Siem Reap to Bangkok, Bangkok to Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, back to Manila. That's how you do it. See, and you'll always have that escape ticket. You're always going to have the ticket in case they ask you, do you have the departing ticket to leave the country? And we were asked this time. And so, yes, we do. As a matter of fact, they quizzed me again about, where's your return ticket to the United States? Well, I remember saying to the clerk, as a U.S. citizen, they give us the right or the freedom to go wherever we want. I don't always have to return back to the United States. So that was clever, right? So I decided I'm coming back here, and then my return ticket coming back to Manila is right here. And then she looks it up. I bought the round trip tickets on Cebu Pacific. I'm checking in at Cebu Pacific, and then they, right there, all she has to do is bring it up on her computer, and she can see I have the round trip ticket. Listen, they don't want to get stuck with bringing you back from point of return to origin, right? And so they don't want to have to pay for it as part of international law, I believe, or aeronautical law. It's some kind of law, right, that says that you take them, you got to bring them back, whether they paid for it or not. Something administratively happens, he gets kicked out of the country, you're responsible for returning him back to point of origin. Well, she doesn't understand that she's not the cog in the wheel that is responsible for asking me that question. It would be when I load up in Bangkok, and then arrive in the Philippines. Then, once I return, or once I get on the plane in Bangkok coming to the Philippines, they're going to want to see my return ticket out of the country once I arrive. Then I'll have to tell them I'm married to a Philippine citizen, or a former Philippine citizen, however I say it, Minnie traveling on her U.S. passport, and that means that entitles me to Balikbayan privileges, and so that gives me a year, and so I don't have to have a return ticket. Applies to all Balikbayans and their relatives and spouses, so long as they're traveling together. So if you're traveling together, you don't have to present all this return ticket stuff. Sooner or later, though, even though that's true and it's written right into the law, I've heard cases where they have said, listen, go apply for the proper visa. Sooner or later, you're going to have to do that. So when we get back, probably around Cebu, I've already been in contact with JR Immigration Consulting Services. And I most likely, and no, this is not a paid advertisement for JR. I'm going to have to apply for that 13A sooner or later. And I'm thinking that it might as well be sooner. I'm a squared away that way. You know, I don't try and do end runs if it's not clear to me how things work. So Balikbayan is clear enough. I understand how that works. But every once in a while, you're going to get a snooty immigration officer who's going to have their own personal reasons, their own personal grudges. Maybe they were denied travel themselves. And they'll hassle you about, oh, you come in and out of the country every 6 months, blah, 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 blah. Where's your ACR card, blah, 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 blah. And even though I have an answer for all that stuff based on legal immigration that's spelled out at the embassy at the Philippines, it doesn't really matter. The discretion is up to the immigration officer to either accept you in the country or deny you entry. They always have that discretion. And so, you know, you have to be prepared for answering questions. You have to have your ducks in a row. Like e-travel, I almost dang near forgot that you have to fill out the e-travel online 72 hours before your departure, right? You have to fill that out 3 days in advance so they know, you know, and then they don't request to see the QR code anymore. They have it in the computer. Folks, things are getting sophisticated in the Philippines and in Thailand, all over the world. You know, they're playing by the same game book now. And so that basically means that you're gonna have to have your ducks in a row. I would never ever try to shortcut some country. I'm a US citizen, for crying out loud. I'm not gonna try and shortcut some countries' immigration requirements. I'm always gonna play it straight. I'm never gonna take a chance. I'm a straight shooter that way. I just don't look good in a foreign jail. I don't look good behind bars. It would be very complicated to try and get somebody to bring me food every day. You know what I mean? No, I don't want to get involved in all that. I play by the rules as best as I can. Best as I can understand them. I play by the rules. And so people who don't are they're taking chances. And I'm not your daddy, I'm not your mommy, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're responsible for your own actions. You know, the same way that I'm responsible for mine. And I won't try and rain on your parade. Because people have written me, you know, in this vlog, and they said, oh, Dan, I did it this way. You know, I just changed the date on my passport a little bit. They didn't even notice it. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not the guy. I'm not the one to do that. Sorry. Don't even be telling me your story. You know, I'm not interested in hearing it. Good for you. I'm glad things worked out. That's basically all I'm going to say. If you come to me and you start presenting nonsense, you know, like that. Just because my friend did it, and then now I'm doing it because he showed me how. No, I don't, homie, don't play that. No. So I know what you're thinking. So you're saying, Dan, you're getting homesick. So a beautiful beach with beautiful people on it every day running around half naked, that's not enough to keep you there, huh? Well, like I said, it's something upside, it's something in here, the way that I was raised perhaps, you know, the way that I was, the environment that I grew up in, you know, that prevents me from looking at a place like this any other way other than this is just a temporary place to enjoy my life. And then once I've enjoyed it, I'm out of here and I'll see you again next year. Yes, is Thailand a fabulous place to visit? It most certainly is. It is a fabulous place to live. If you can keep up with all the changes in immigration laws and laws in general, yeah, I suppose it is. It's very nice. It's got good infrastructure. It's got beautiful food. It's got some of the happiest people in the world that I've ever met. It reminds me a lot of the Philippines. You know how friendly everybody is. And but the whole thing is it ain't home to me. It isn't my home, and it isn't Minnie's home. It's vacation. We're vacationers. We're tourists. We're vacation oriented, you know. And so now it's time to go see some other beautiful place in the world. Are you following what I'm saying? So I know people are thinking, you're crazy. You should be living on the white sandy beach for $500 a month. But I wouldn't be even if I wanted to live here. Where would I be? I'd be 3 or 4 blocks that way, you know, away from the beach, where my rent would only be $300 per month. Are you guys following me? Are you guys hanging in there with me? So you're getting to know a little bit about what Dan's all about. I still wouldn't be doing it. I'd be over there where the rent was cheaper, because I would know that all I'd have to do is get on my bicycle, my Pee Wee Herman special, and bicycle over to the beach if I wanted to see it that much, right? While people here are paying $1,500, $1,600, $2,000 a month for the beach view, I could have a beach view too. But I'll have to get on my Pee Wee Herman bicycle and pedal as fast as I can for all of 5 minutes to get here and enjoy myself on the beach. And I'm only going to be saving, you know, $1,500 per month American. Are you following what I'm saying? Folks, we had a big dinner down there at Jomtien Market. I had a big, delicious hamburger that is unlike any hamburger you have ever had. Makes me wonder if it were real beef, if it were real sirloin beef that was advertised imported from the United States of America, because it tasted just like sirloin beef. All right, there's something else I want to talk about. So I talked about the money part. So you're going to spend, you know, or I'm going to spend, I should speak from a first person point of view, right? And not a third person point of view. We have spent about $1,000 this month. That's a lot of money. So I just want to point out, if you're trying to maintain 2 households, you know, it's going to run you, you know, like me, you want to travel a lot, you want to pay for airfare, you know, and all that other stuff. You plan around your budget. You know, how much money do you have to spend? And so I can't do it 12 months out of the year. I can only do it maybe 6 months out of the year. I know people are laughing at me. Yeah, right, Dan, good for you. Shut the hell up. Please, stop talking. Oh, we burned through that can of San Miguel Light. Stop talking, Dan. Yeah, so you most likely would have to have a little bit of money. But listen, I ran into, as most of you know, we ran into Regular Guy. As a matter of fact, I posted a link to Regular Guy's channel up there on my community page. And one of the reasons why I did it is because he featured us in a segment on there. He featured a video we did about him when he came through Bye Bye See Later, which is very nice of him. But we had quite a chat, an interesting chat, when we ran into him in Angeles City, and he was sitting there over at Phillies. And I got to tell you something about him. He's a very handsome, articulate, he's a very handsome and articulate man. I know why he's a good communicator, and I know why his YouTube channel is such a success. Regular Guy's success comes from his ability to communicate effectively, and I don't have that ability, but it can be learned, and so I'm watching. But I put a link there in the community pages. If you want to go over there and click, go watch that video. He does a beautiful job of entertaining you and telling a story. He's a great communicator. I have to edit so much of my videos because I keep running my words together or mispronouncing, and then I'm editing to make everything sound halfway decent. But the reason why he's such a great communicator is because he's a great listener. Right? When I'm talking, I'll be like this. I won't even take a breath. I'll just keep going. Take a breath. Take a breath, Dan. Another breath. Listen. If you're listening, you can't be speaking. And so he listens. He listens and he makes note of what you're saying. And he thinks about it before he responds. He'll sit there and he'll ponder it. You'll see the gears working in his brain. He'll be pondering it. I like the man. I like the man. I understand him. Go in there, watch his videos. You'll learn something about him. He's in search of a soulmate. So I would go in there and check it out. If you're single and available, you want to go in there and check it out. So anyway, that's where I'm at. So now what's next on this journey? So it's another month here, and as you know, I've been doing videos and uploading them every other day. I may slow down a little bit. And we may be doing a lot more of these impromptu live streams where I just talk about whatever. And so the next whatever I want to talk about that surely will take up the remaining hour. We're at 46 minutes 32 seconds into the live, and I'm not going to go much further than the 1 hour mark, right? But I will tell you this, right? So I want to share something with you that some of you people may or may not disagree. You may disagree with me. You may hate me for saying it. Or you might relate to what I'm saying, right? You might be able to relate to it. But the most likely folks that are able to relate to this are Westerners. And so I'll say it like this. If you're coming over here to Asia, anywhere in Asia, as a matter of fact, if you're leaving the United States and you don't have any plans for returning, a lot of people leave and they don't have plans for returning. Does not mean they won't eventually return back through circumstances beyond their control, or maybe even under their control. They end up back in the United States or whatever their country of origin is. But if you're one of the guys saying, I'm done with it, I'm going overseas to live, right? Why can't you let go of things going on domestically, like talking about the economy every day, talking about politics? If you love the country so much and you've embraced those issues, right? And I'm talking about what happens when expats get together and they start shooting the crap. You could talk in a general way about the state of the world or the state of the global economy. But once you start getting into specifics, I kind of start looking at you with a jaundiced eye. This one. And you know why? You know why? Because you left your country. You left because you felt there was a better place to be. And if you're from the States, I got to tell you, there are a lot of better places to be. But I can only tell you that because I've been there. Now, would you listen to some schmuck telling you, that life is better over there in that country if the person has never been there, right? But then, you have to be more specific about how you define that. What do you mean by better? Well, economically, I'm able to survive. I'm able to afford an apartment. I'm able to enjoy being able to go to the grocery store, maybe going out to eat once or twice a week, where I never was able to do that when I was living in California, let's say, right? So I'm telling you, I just don't get it. I don't mind most of the time, but what I'm thinking about when you're talking, when you're starting to share all this crap with me, what I'm thinking about is, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be at home in the good old USA with your snuggle buddy? Making yourself at home in your king-size bed and watching the world go by on your television set. as opposed to traveling around the world and then telling everybody, how great of a place the USA is. I'm just curious about that. I'm curious as hell about that. All right, so I wouldn't go so far as to even say that the United States is not a great place to live. And the reason why I can't say it is because I've only lived a few places, right? I can tell you about California, both the North and the South. I can tell you about, what it's like to live in Sacramento, what it's like to live in Los Angeles, where I grew up. I can tell you about what it's like to live in upstate New York, Long Island, New York, Boston, Quincy, Massachusetts, what it's like to be a stranger and visit Burlington, Vermont, let's say, or St. Albans, Vermont. I can give you my interpretation of Montreal because I've been there. In other words, I could share with you the different nuances of each one of those places, and then I could tell you that you don't want to be there when compared to Southeast Asia. But I don't go around talking about, what the economy is like there, what the politics are like there, because I have no interest, because I don't live there. I don't own any property in any of those places anymore. I don't. The property that we have is in Bye Bye City, Leyte. So local issues that are happening there I may know about, but I never comment on them because I'm a guest in the country known as the Philippines. So I don't mean to offend anybody. I'm just telling it the way that I see it. And that is that if you're here and you want to talk about being there, then here is not the place to be talking about it. Because the first thing I think about is that you're a jackass. And you're lost. Your mind and your mind should be where your feet are, I think. It doesn't mean that you can't analyze and, but here's something else, right? Here's something else I want to talk about. All right. So there are a whole bunch of people in the Philippines. When you get around expats and they start talking, talking, especially about the state of the world, the economy and politics and things like that. And so I noticed something. And I mentioned it in one of my videos or one of the last live streams, that people are going to be losing a lot of friends over this election cycle that's taking place in the States, right? People are going to be losing friends. And I started thinking about why is it, right? I'm not mentioning names, but one party, right, who's running, right? Who's a man. Why is it that they keep name calling him, vilifying him, making him out to be a dictator and a villain, a liar, and all this other stuff, when what really would catch my attention, if I cared, right, is tell me about the other person's qualifications. So tell me something. Why would you be spending all your time trying to down somebody, right? Telling what a dictator they will be if they get into office and all this other crap, as opposed to talking about the finer points of success and the reason why the other person should have the job. Why are they doing that? I don't understand it. Is it because the only thing that I could figure out is it's easier to name call somebody, right, than it is to make up stuff about the person that you know nothing about. In other words, anybody can call me a liar, anybody can call me an idiot, anybody can call me to dinner. Hey, fat boy, come to dinner. You follow what I'm saying? In other words, they can say whatever they want about me. right? They can say whatever they want about me, except, you know, it won't hurt my feelings. And quite frankly, but why aren't they taking that energy and that time to build up the person that is their candidate? You know, oh, this person graduated cum laude from, you know, oh, this person slept with Willie Brown. Oh, no, no, no. Listen, I didn't mean for that to come out. Anybody who sleeps with Willie Brown should definitely get the job, in my opinion. So you see what I'm talking about? I just wanted to make that point. After a while, it's stale and it's old, you know, because you don't want to hear it anymore. You don't want to hear people, you don't want to hear anybody, because they'll, you know, they're always going to say something. Most of the time, you know, if you're a member of the Democratic Party like I am, and I always vote the party line, right? They're going to be the Dems and a lot of independents, right? They're going to be walking around saying, "Oh, yeah, that guy's an idiot. If he gets in office, he's going to be a dictator. He'll never relinquish the spot." You know, blah blah blah. They're spewing all this garbage, right? And then on the other side of it, they don't know anything about the candidate that they're behind, such as moi, right? I don't know anything about the candidate. But I don't live there anymore. I don't live there anymore. Should I even be voting? Do I even have the right to vote? You know, maybe one or two of you can chime in and tell me if they think that I have the right to vote, when I haven't even been there. I haven't even been, you know, involved in any of this stuff, nor do I want to be, by the way. In the past several years, I've just been going through life with blinders on, looking at my retirement future. My retirement future appears to be, you know, right here in Southeast Asia, in the Philippines, right? But for some reason, even the people that live there in the Philippines want to talk about this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, especially if they're demos and they're spewing stuff at the conservatives, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it, and I'm a Democrat, right? And I always vote the party. This is all public information. If you go look me up, you're going to see every crime I've ever committed, every crime I've been arrested for, how many divorces, you know, how many times I've been bankrupt in my life, how many businesses that I've owned, how, you know, the whole thing is available if you care to take the time to look for it, right? You can find out my voting record, you can find out where I work, you can even find out how much money I make in pension from that particular agency that I used to work for. Anything you want, you can find out about me. And I know you're waiting for me to say the next thing, and that is that, you know, I have nothing to hide. I'm proud of who I've become. I'm proud of who I am. Listen, that being said, don't come to me. I'm kind of like publicly letting you know. Don't come to me and talk about that stuff. I'm not interested in it. Especially if you want to talk about, you know, the dictator, you know, the guy who will never leave. Dun, dun, dun. The guy who's going to take all your freedoms away. Dun, dun, dun. I've never felt more free in my entire life the way that I do now, the way that I feel now. I've never felt more free and more in charge of what I can do and where I can go than at any time in my life than right now in the present. Now, it doesn't mean that's going to last forever, right? But we hope that it just lasts until it's Dan's time to leave this planet. That's all I ask. You know, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Because I wanted a little bit of a better life. I didn't want to have to struggle on the ride home. Nobody wants to do that. No one wants to struggle on the ride home. They want to be smooth sailing until the end. You know, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That's how I wanted it to be. And I realized it could not be that way had I stayed where I was in California. So I can only talk about that experience. But I remind everybody, and I remind myself, there's a lot of real estate in between California and Boston. A lot of real estate and a lot of happy people in between there. But my experience is limited to those places I explained. And then if you've ever been there, then you might come to the same conclusion. Oh, I understand where Dan's coming from. Or you could say that Dan's just a butthead. Well, it doesn't really matter. You know, it doesn't really matter because we're all, you know, we all are given freedom of thought, you know, freedom of expression. You know, it's almost like a human gift, a human right. But anyway, so I wouldn't know what's going on in places like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. You haven't spent much time in those places. I've spent a little bit of time there, but not much, you know, and so I wouldn't know if they're going through the same things that I am. So my answer could have been, or one of you could have told me, Dan, all you had to do is move 2 states over and it would have been just like living in Southeast Asia. I don't know, but now we have a house and a car and a family and all these lovely things, right? And happiness, the happiest that I've ever been in my entire life, right here. And so the last thing that I want to do and hear about is one of my, you know, one of my comrades, if you will, come to me and start talking about, you know, the dictator, the dictator scenario, which I just laugh at. Well, he didn't do it last time. You know, what makes you think he'll do it? He tried, he wasn't a success. Well, maybe they need to bring in the National Guard this time. My Filipino friends and my Filipino friends, I do apologize for spending so much time on this subject. It's not the same here in the Philippines as it is. Well, it kind of is. It kind of is. You guys went through a couple of rough spells here. But anyway, that's your burden. I'm just a guest here. I just observe from afar, and you observe what goes on in the West from afar. Same as I do viewing what goes on in the Philippines, you know. But I never would comment, you know, on anything that I have no business commenting on. And I hardly think about it. Because I'm just too dang happy and having too much fun going on vacations, you know, whenever we could afford to do so. Well, anyway, that's about it. I've gone on far too long, 1 hour and 3 minutes, and we're going to be live giving away money on Friday. Don't miss that live stream. I got my Gcash already loaded. I already figured out how all that stuff works. We hope to see you there Friday, 6 p.m. for the live stream. That's Philippine date and time. Everybody, all 6 million people of you that have remained, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next live stream. Take care. Bye-bye.